and welcome to the podcast. I'm Marisa.
And I'm Ariana.
And we're the Krolmeister sisters. As a reminder, this podcast is rated T for teen for strong language and mature themes.
If you don't like that, well, tough titties. Head on over to her very own podcast, Unlocked, where they talk to people about things and
stuff. We're not, hugely...
you know what?
Hugely in the mood to endorse her interactive at the moment.
I'm really endorsing, it's really more of that specific podcaster, just, Tammy Tucky.
Listen to Tammy Tucky. She's probably great. But then again, I haven't seen what she's saying about the protests right now. Because here's where I'm going to talk about, first and foremost, the fucking her interactive with their parrot post. If you haven't been paying attention to our Twitter or Facebook in general, well, first of all, there are protests going on right now about racism. Please.
Are there?
Yeah, and everyone's talking about it. But you know who didn't talk about it? Her Interactive. They have not made a single statement. However, last Saturday, I think it was, they promoted Ransom of the Seven Ships for National Parrot Day. Ransom of the Seven Ships. The game with blackface in it.
There is literally another game with a parrot in it they could have promoted.
That's what, everyone immediately said, right? So, a bunch of us tweeted at them. For reals, we gave them hell. And some people also messaged them on Facebook, commented on the post on Facebook. The post got taken down everywhere. It's gone. It's down. Good. They still haven't said anything else about the protests or where they stand on any of that. Mm-hmm. That's why I ended up raising the money for the Northwest Community Bail Fund, because that's for the protesters and everyone in that area in Seattle and everything. So I'm like, if her Interactive's not going to do it, we can do it as fans. Yeah. But they did respond to one person, who Alicia from the Clue Crew Discord. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
she sent them herself.
She yes, I did. But Alicia just fucking dragged them. Thank you, Alicia. We love you. And they did respond to her in a private message. Hello, Alicia. The post has been removed. We apologize profusely for the insensitivity, as we did not intend to highlight the blackface character in this game, nor make reference to it or even promote it. The post and the game are inappropriate. Please accept our sincerest apologies for posting this and for not paying closer attention to the #Blackout Tuesday movement on social media. We hear you and stand together in support, and to be advocates for social justice and reform, we are committed to diversity and inclusion within our company and in our games.
It is in writing.
They say it's blackface.
That it is blackface.
They need to pull that game everywhere they sell it. If they are going to admit they have blackface in a game, They need to pull it.
Holy shit.
So,
I skimmed that when you put it in there. I didn't look at the full language of it, so and that game is inappropriate. They specifically say
it. They need to pull that game, in my opinion. They need to pull it and apologize.
Please?
That's me.
Legitimately, Her Interactive, I will be the first to always give you shit because you skirt around everything. Around very important parts of our history because they are dirty and show the world for what it is, which is a horror show.
Yeah.
Just take a stand.
That's all. To the question in the chat.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, to the question in the chat, she called it blackface, and they were quoting it back at her, but they did admit in writing that it's blackface and inappropriate.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, what are we talking about today, sister, in the actual podcast episode, and not here is our dirt on her right now. Oh, which completely ignores the fact that they're also still following J.K. Rowling on Twitter. I tweeted at them about that. If you know what's going on with that, go tweet at them to tell them to unfollow her.
I've got it.
Because that's bullshit.
I've got to say, and we can cut this part out. Like, I had just... Adam's scrolling through, and he goes, uh-oh, J.K. Rowling is trending. And he starts going to look for it, and I was like, what? Oh my god, let's see. She said something bad about trans people. And he went, yeah. It was like, are you fucking goddamn it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right?
So it's just like, yeah, no, we're done. I'm glad everybody's on board, because I've been done with Joe for a while. Anyway, let's get on to the actual podcast.
Honestly. So what are we talking about today, sister?
Today, we're gonna, really dig our heels in here and see what we can do to salvage mid.
Yeah, we've done a fixing different games and series in the past where we would take 2 or 3 games at a time and fix it. Today's episode is just about fixing Midnight in Salem.
There's a lot that needs to be done.
There's a lot that needs to be done. First, we're just going to preface this by saying the graphics.
Just whoop.
Bam. So much better.
Take some
time.
Like
a whole new game.
Really focus on the graphics for like a hot second.
If the graphics could just, like, be something I can look at without getting dizzy.
Oh my god.
Nauseous. That'd be great.
The slingshot mechanic can go away.
Yes. So that's our first note. We haven't had to say that to any of the other games. That's not true. I think we said it to a couple of the really old ones, replace the character animations.
Yeah, I think we did mention it, but it was never like a huge bullet point. It was more like a little sub points, like, hey, maybe don't do it bad. But this was just, like, offensive.
Don't be bad.
This was offensive. Like, we have to actually specifically state, no, these are the things you need to not do.
Yeah. So, what I did was I went through and I listed all of our problem areas, and then Ariana helped me come up with ways to fix it. So, first, let's talk about the problem areas.
It's so much.
The thing that kills me every time I think about this game is the timeline makes no sense.
How old are these people?
How old are any of... I literally took notes when I was playing it in this last time on who... Oh, that's my charity notes. Charity stream. Okay, so all we know, May was 9 when the fire happened. Lauren was 11 when she was adopted, and she was adopted in the year 2000.
Okay.
Frances Tuttle was 88 when she died, and she bought the Hathorne house 30 years prior to that. Jason...
Some math happening here.
Jason, they said they tried to follow it. He tried to follow in his dad's footsteps, but couldn't go through with the schooling. So it's never stated that he, like, went to college or anything, or tried to do law school. Yeah. It's just that he couldn't, like...
Like, he briefly had a moment in high school when he thought he was going to be a lawyer, and everybody was like, he's gonna be a lawyer! Like, is that what I'm getting from it?
But then, like, maybe he couldn't get into a good college. Like, I have ideas to make that make sense-ish. But that's, like, that's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. How old is everyone? Are these 3 women, like, 30? Owning their own businesses?
I mean...
How old is Alicia? That's the one we can't, to get through law school, right? You have to, law school is 3 years. It's exactly 3 years. If you don't do it in 3 years, you're out. So let's say she, like many people, graduated with her bachelor's at what, 21? Is that how old people are when they graduate?
I think so. I don't know.
21?
I never did.
Let's be nice and say 22.
Okay.
Right? So 22, which means out of law school she's 25. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So she's 25. She's gotten to a point in her career where she's actually like, she's like the main, what is her job?
That's a terrific question, sister.
Is she like, can someone tell me? She's just like the like, I thought maybe she was like,
Do they say that she's the district attorney?
district attorney?
Like,
but then no one ever says that's what she is.
is there no
Like,
plaque
I listened.
with her title on it?
I mean, it's possible that I avoided, I did say fuck dialogue for a large portion of the second playthrough. But as far as I know, I'm going to assume she's a district attorney. She's got to be at least in her 30s. So why is she hitting on Jason?
Yeah.
Who's like at most 23, but is probably like 18?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a real Desperate Housewives vibe, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah,
I didn't appreciate it then. I don't appreciate it now.
It's real gross. It's just real gross. I would like Alicia to not be a sexual predator. So that's
Small
that's
note.
Small note. We're still doing problem areas. The whole AW stuff, the accused witches stuff with the reparations.
I will launch
That's
into
just-
that one. I will get into that.
Yeah, that's a problem area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll go on from that.
Lauren being the only one descendant of a slave, but being against reparations.
I'm gonna say it now. Someone was making a fucking statement.
Were they? Or do they just not know enough about any of it?
There's a possibility, but I'm not going to assume ignorance. Not in this particular case. It is a bit. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. Tegan literally letting her sister take the fall for not one, but 2 different fires that she was the cause of.
You fucking
And
bitch.
She gets no punishment for any of it. Or at the end, does she say she got community service?
No. I don't believe she does.
I don't know. By the end of the game, I was like, please just let it be over. Click, 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 click.
I'm over this now.
Fuck
It is
dialogue.
a long fucking ending.
It is. It's like
she
trying to mention community service. Okay, she gets community service for burning down a house and blaming it on her sister. She didn't blame it on her sister. She let her sister take the fall. 2 different things. And then my last huge problem area with the game, other than graphics, which we already talked about.
largest bullet. These were all little summaries, and then she gets to this one, and it's this huge fucking bullet.
And you know what? What was Alicia's fucking motive? She didn't set fire to the house. She just kind of leapt in. Like, she just leapt at the opportunity to just gaslight Lauren to get land for her house so she could develop it? So she could get involved in a real estate scheme? Like, was this a spur of the moment decision since she suddenly got the opportunity? Or was she always planning on drugging this person?
I think she was doing it before the fire, and she continued to do it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's... But ultimately, your question still stands.
She's not even from Salem. She doesn't even go here. She's not even from Salem. Why the fuck does she care? And it is completely... It's implied that she's drugging Danforth, too.
Yeah.
Or she's at least gaslighting him.
And that's why he's having such horrible memory problems.
Yeah, he's at least, she's at least gaslighting him. If she's just taking advantage of actual memory problems that are arising, she's still gaslighting him.
Yep.
So, those are the problem areas we're going to address. So, mine is the take on the timeline. I just want to kind of streamline this a bit, okay? So let's just lay it out there. I want the older girls to be 28 so that this can be 10 years after the fire.
Yeah.
And that way they can all be 18 when the original fire happened. So that would put May, let's make her 18 right now, and so she's 8 during the fire instead of 9. Because it just makes more sense for her to be 18 right now if she's applying for schools than to be 9. So we'll just say that she's, she is 18, okay? She was 8 when the fire happened, so Deirdre now would be 24, because a 14-year-old watching an 8-year-old makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
And that at least makes the timeline make more sense in the way that May is then applying to a college late instead of a girls' boarding school, a high school, whatever the fuck they implied with it being Waverly. And I would say then that Nancy is also 24 in this game, because I'll just put her at the same age as Deirdre.
Yeah.
So that's
she
that's
canonically like a year younger than Deirdre? They were like, she's like a grade below her.
We're all still trying to figure out where, because for some reason the entire fandom has this memory.
And can't substantiate it.
Yes, of it saying that Deirdre was 16 in Alibi and Ashes. She's canonically born in 1995. Mm-hmm. None of us can find where we came up with that fact. It's on the wiki.
So somebody put it there. We all read it on the wiki, and
but I remember. It's so like frustrating.
No, yeah, it's so frustrating. It's the ticket thing, right?
That's what we thought, but it's not on her ticket. It's not there. We all looked. So, and it's not Mandela effect. It's literally probably just that
someone put it on the fucking wiki.
Someone put it on there, and now we all just agreed with that because it was on the wiki.
Like, yeah, no, I saw it somewhere. Because we all want to see the Emperor wearing clothes. We don't want to see that dick hanging out.
Yes. So yeah, I would say that old because that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I would say Jason is a year older than May, and he's going for his second year at like the local business school. His grades this is how he didn't pull through with the schooling. He didn't get good enough grades in high school to get into an actually good school to become a lawyer. So he's going to the local business college. That's my fix. And Alicia is 33 and not sexually interested in Jason.
Please.
There's my timeline.
I need
fix.
that. It's just gone. Okay, I can appreciate that. Okay, yeah. Let's get into the accused witches stuff, because I think the very first step towards making any of this okay, talking about the reparations okay, is if we also talk about Black people and that they were slaves, that this was a factor in the Salem witch trial.
Yes. The whole thing where they bring Tituba up, they make Lauren a descendant of her.
But she was just, some nice lady.
She was just freed, Ariana. She was freed and then wandered the world learning about herbalism.
She was not freed. She was purchased from the prison where her master left her after beating her and forcing her to confess to being a witch and implicating other quote-unquote witches. So she was purchased, and that man then impregnated her. We can only assume it wasn't a, consensual thing.
Seeing as how there's no consent when there's a power dynamic like that.
So, I'm not saying go into detail. I'm saying let's fucking talk about it. The fact of the matter.
It would be... I would be less angry about the entire situation if they talked about the slaves.
Yeah.
Because they've referenced one slave, and that's Tituba, and that's it. She's the only slave from Salem. And I would love it if they would talk about, the fact that was stolen land to begin with.
Yeah. really need to get into that part, too.
But the reason that it really pisses me off is that they do an entire thing about a vacuum domicilium, which means that it was okay that the settlers took this land because it was empty. It wasn't.
It's not.
The Namkag people lived in what, like, their center base was what's now Salem. And the only reason it was empty land was because they had pretty much been killed, like 90% of them were killed off by a disease brought from the rats from the settlers from Europe. And then they ended up pretty much getting, like, picked off by a neighboring nation. Well, not a neighboring nation, all the way down from Maine. What were they doing? I don't know. This is just, but the people who wrote all of this down, the people who, yeah, exactly. The people who wrote all of this down were white people, so we don't know exactly what happened, right?
Yeah.
We do know that they died, like 90% of them died from that disease brought over by the rats. And they were pretty easy to just kind of shove out of the place so that it was an empty land. It's fine. It's empty.
Look at it.
So the fact that they try to say that the Hathorne house is built on stolen land from the accused witches is like friends, please just like look, like you're so close to the point. They're almost there. They're so close, but that land was already stolen and like it wasn't yours. It wasn't your land. So the accused witches stuff, I get it. Maybe they could be. The only thing that would help me is if they were an activist group that was using all of that.
Yeah, using
whatever.
the reparations they get to actually.
All of these legal documents about the witch trials. So they could be using all of those documents to get reparations, but then actually do it for the descendants of slaves in the area and the native people in the area, right? And make a big, like, fund for that or something. Like, doing something like that would fix it for me. But I know that's a lot. So maybe it should just go.
Maybe just, get rid of it.
Maybe it doesn't need to be, maybe it's an organization that's just about clearing their names.
Yeah, educating.
And that's why they want the Book of Apologies.
Yeah.
To get an actual clearing of the names of their ancestors.
Exactly.
Not trying to get land back.
Yeah.
Since it's just so... It just doesn't, it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit the mark. It's just slightly wrong.
Yes.
They're so close to getting it. They're so close to understanding colonialism. And instead it just goes, pew!
Yeah. You were just so close to the point, buddy.
So close. It's like that, isn't there that subreddit that's about, like, people who almost get the point? Like, they, like, make some kind of, like, statement.
And it's clearly stating the antithesis of what they think they're saying.
Well, or it's more like, oh, so if you guys want free healthcare, what's next? Are you going to say that housing is a human right? And it's like, oh, you're so close to the point. You almost get it. Yes, that is what we're saying. So that's what we can say about the accused witches stuff. Just make them not trying to get the house.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna keep that,
yeah, absolutely have them being historians and just like wanting to preserve some. There are a lot of, as I've said, my coworker who was from the area in Massachusetts, she was like, no, yeah, that's a whole thing there. It's essentially like a culture within the area, just like witches being everything.
We're the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn.
Fucking shut up.
I know. Our mom posts shit like that. And it's like, no, you fucking weren't. You were living in Appalachia. Your family was in the Appalachian Mountains. Shut up. You weren't part of any of this. Yeah, that's the AW stuff. Tegan. Ariana has a lot to say about Tegan. I have some proposed fixes, but Ariana, tell us the problem.
I guess, okay, and I did start with asking, like, do you want to should we let her go full villain or have a redemption? Because no matter what, something needs to be done, because she let her sister take the fall for not one, but 2 fires, and they don't ever fully address her actions. At all. I know we already kind of went over this, but it's just like, we can't have her not apologize for what, like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, okay. Maybe there are 2 scenarios, okay? We have her go full villain, and I do kind of favor this theory. We have her go the route that she was described when the game first was being pitched, I guess, because it wasn't in development.
When it was first being written.
Yeah. She was, May was described, or Tegan rather, was described very much as an abuser. We were like, oh, okay, so, she's got a fucking hot temper, and we're like, okay, so maybe she was fully aware of her actions and just was able to justify it, and maybe she even, used it to, like, gaslight her sister into, like, distancing herself from people, and just, like, maybe making her think, oh, maybe you did do it, maybe, like, go full villain, or actually have her apologize, give her some kind of redemptive arc, maybe even make it that she has actually been spending her whole life trying to make that up to her sister without, and, like, yeah, it's shitty that she kept it from her, but at least her actions were afterwards, like, trying to discredit those people saying she was the one who started the fire. Like, maybe she tried to pin it on other people. I could appreciate that. I could appreciate that kind of psychosis. But no matter what, there are 2 fires that happened because of this bitch, and she does nothing.
My proposed fix in this is that she doesn't burn down the Hathorn house. I think that fire just wasn't her. I would like that fire to just be Alicia.
I agree.
Like, if you're gonna have a villain, have a villain.
I agree. That's what
So, I think our fix here is that Tegan is the reason for the fire, the first fire.
Yes.
And now, during the game, she, like, full on, like, we have a heartfelt, maybe she's down with us in the tunnels in the end.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
yeah.
and Tegan, she and May, she and herself, apparently.
She and Tegan.
She and May have, like, this whole heartfelt thing while we're trying to piece things together.
Yeah.
We hear this heartfelt, like,
yes,
like, they're, like, crying with each other, and we're just trying to solve everything.
Like, you can hear them blowing snot bubbles into each other's hair as they're crying and holding each other.
Sorry I did that.
I love you so much, you know that, right?
I didn't know what to do. I was only 18.
Drunk Risa and me.
Exactly.
I do like, alternatively, sorry, I remembered I had another idea. I do like also that maybe the first fire was, it was an accident. She didn't mean to do it, but May knew that she would, like, lose her scholarship or whatever, which is why we like her being 18 at this time.
Yeah.
That she would lose a scholarship. And she was really counting on that. It was her ride. She was going to fulfill her dream, and May was just like, no, I will take the fall for my big sister. She's like, no, it's cool. I know how much this means to you.
I'm just a kid.
They'll forgive me, right?
That's exactly what eight-year-olds do, though. Like, I work with elementary school kids. 8-year-olds are like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea what this is going to do for my future, but I know what you've been talking about and you love a lot. You've been talking about that scholarship, and this would make you lose it.
Yeah.
So, it was me. I set the fire.
Kids, and that would also really be a great underlying trait that I would love to see in May.
And that's why Tegan knows May didn't set this fire because May didn't set the fire when we were kids.
Exactly.
So I know May's covering for someone else because May does think it's Jason because she knows Jason's been involved in things. So she's still not saying like what she did. And Jason's like her best friend because, you know, that's just how that is.
Yeah.
May is also a lesbian. I want that to be in my fix as well.
Yeah, that needs
canonically.
to be right there.
Because it was just kind of like hinted at, but
but it also felt very blatant. So it was like, you know, just say it. It's okay.
Exactly. But so yeah, that's like my idea with that Tegan didn't do the second fire, and she knows that May didn't, and that's why she brought Deirdre and Nancy in.
Yeah.
That last point is just Alicia, and
just make her better, you guys. Take 2 seconds.
Okay, here's my thing. I started asking around in the Clue Crew. I had an idea, and then everyone's like, I mean, none of it makes sense because she couldn't have demolished it even if it got handed over to the state because she's not the owner. And on all the paperwork, it said she would be the owner. So that doesn't make sense. Okay. First of all, I want this to start off that she is from Salem. She went away to college.
Please.
She came back to the town she loves. And when she came back to the town she loves, she realized, holy shit, this place sucks. Right? She came back and she's like, they never stopped talking about this witch thing. But she loves the town because she grew up there, so she wants to see it do well. So she gets involved in a real estate scheme, as you do.
As you do.
But she's
like any Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it happens.
Commit.
But she does a bunch of research, finds out that is the perfect area for a new community center or land development area, right? She figured it out. So, she's trying to get Frances Tuttle to sell. She's like, Frances, you can't.
Frances,
I mean,
baby.
I hear that the accused witches are trying to make this a historical monument, and you won't be able to upkeep any you can't afford to upkeep a historical building, so, just sell it to me and I'll deal with it.
Be like?
Exactly. Ask Margarita from Venice. When you live in a historical building, it costs money to keep it up. Mm-hmm. But Frances Tuttle was like, fuck you. And then she died.
Fuck you, I'm a witch. I'll do what I want. Because, let's be real, Frances Tuttle was the only real witch in this fucking game.
Yeah, so here's my thing. Why did she hide the will? Why did Frances hide the will?
Terrific question. Because there needed to be Nancy Drew game.
No. My idea is that she hid the will because she saw Alicia, going around on her property. So she hid the will because of Alicia. That's my fix for the game, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
I think that there needed to be an Nancy Drew game. Makes sense, but okay.
Okay, so she hid the will because of Alicia, instead of it being some just old people hiding their wills. Because why did she fucking hide her will in the game? So, she saw Alicia poking around because Alicia was looking for the place to put the ergot. So she saw her poking around the property, decided to hide the will. She dies. Now Alicia's like, okay, whatever. She asks Lauren, is there a will? And Lauren's like, I can't find a will. And Alicia's like, oh no, if you can't find a will, then I guess, despite the fact that you are her adopted child, so it should automatically go to you, I'm just going to pretend I don't know that fact.
Or in fact, we should at least look at the bank,
But
whatever.
Oh no, I'll try to help you with this because if the person who legally owns this doesn't live here for more than what is it 90 days, then it's considered it'll just go to the state. I'm so sorry. But I'll help you out. So she does that, and so now Alicia is trying to find the will before Lauren does. She can't fucking find it, so she burns down the house because, first of all, this is taking way too much time. She doesn't want to actually wait the 90 days. She was really hoping Lauren would just sell it to her anyway, despite the fact that Lauren doesn't actually have... Take that back. She was really hoping that Lauren would just give up and move out. But she didn't. So she burns down the house because Lauren has no reason to be there if the house is gone. And that means that it'll go to the state faster anyway. So she'll be on the whatever committee needs to be made to deal with this, what to do with this land. And anyway, those accused witch bitches were just like... trying to get it as a museum anyway, and now this way you can just total it without them getting on your case because it burned down. Oh no. And Lauren's still not going after all of this stuff, so you start poisoning her water and trying to get her to think that it's haunted because you're a Scooby-Doo villain now. You just gotta do it.
Commit.
So.
God damn.
I think that at least makes for an interesting Nancy Drew game. If it doesn't completely legally make sense. That is my fix.
I feel
for
like
how that happened. Because currently it makes zero sense.
It is a very short-sighted plan in that once external law gets involved eventually, like, I don't know, when you're paying your taxes and suddenly there's a property that's like in your name, and anyway, people look into that stuff at some point, especially if you're claiming it's an historical site.
But that's the thing.
Without the house,
if
it's not
burns
a historical
down,
site. Yeah.
Exactly. Then
Still.
she can just sell them, just demolish everything, and do the best she can to further the community, which would be to build land development there, to build houses, because that, in her mind, is furthering the community. She's trying to bring people in. She's trying to gentrify Salem, which, I mean, to be fair, it's already pretty white, but...
Yeah. Like, it's a real white place, man.
It is. I would also say that to fix this game, you would also need to get rid of the entire opening bit in Austria, because there is no point to it. It just adds more problems.
And then Jason... It was Jason...
So, no. I'm going to completely get rid of
Jason?
I'm gonna get rid of the entire beginning bit and the entire bit where he steals the accused witch. No.
I hate this
we're not
game,
gonna do,
sister.
We're not gonna do the evidence room theft. It's gone now. Goodbye.
Especially with the, like, implied sexual predatory, like, she was manipulating this boy.
Yeah, no, we're done with it. We don't like it.
I don't appreciate it.
Jason still exists. And the real reason that that May was covering for him, she thought that he was, like, maybe he set the fire, but really, he was just on a date he didn't want to tell her about. Because he doesn't realize she's a lesbian. Or it's with a girl that May doesn't like.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to tell her. So she thought she was covering up for Jason just getting into some arson. But arson was real. But Jason was just like, I'm just trying to date this chick over here.
I'm just trying to get laid, y'all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do.
From business school.
I'm trying to get laid from business school.
The chick was from business school. Pay attention, Ariana. So yeah, that's how we would, really, at this point, just throw the whole thing away.
Just throw it out. We're done. This is too much.
That's how we would try to fix this game.
And I think we might do it successfully. It might not sell well, I'll be real, but, like, it's a bit of a downer. But maybe just don't cover the subject then.
Don't want to talk about reparations.
It's a pretty
don't
shitty
fucking
event.
Talk about reparations. Like, oh, maybe it is a girl that May likes.
That was what
Jason
I thought you were going to say initially, but then I liked...
Jason went on a date with May's crush.
Ugh.
And she thought he was such a bro that it wasn't, that never even came to her mind. Yeah. It was just that he was committing arson. Because Because he was like, I don't want to say where I was. And she's like, oh my God, he set the fire.
Oh, goddamn. Okay, I'm covering for this boy again. God.
But really, it was that he went on a date with the girl she had a crush on.
A real Robin Steve situation.
Yep. Okay, so that was how we would fix Midnight in Salem. If you want to tell us how you would like to, please tell us on our Twitter, our
anymore?
Facebook, our Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and our fancy website, KrolmeisterSisters.KnifeFightClub.com.
You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify. And on those places, you can leave us reviews and tell people why they should listen. And tell us why you like us and our thoughts and how funny we are.
Yes. This is the point where I would normally tell you guys to give us money, but right now I'm going to say please donate to your local bail fund or community fund. They're often called, if you just look up your state, then bail fund, or your state, then freedom fund, and it'll show up. So donate to that, or donate to Black Visions Collective, I think is the one I wanted to highlight, but I can't remember the name specifically. I think it's that one. Hopefully. If you go on the Minnesota Freedom Fund website, they'll tell you the one I'm trying to tell you to donate to. So yeah. As a reminder, I'm Risa.
I'm Ariana.
And we're the Krolmeister sisters, and we're asking you guys to stay sleuthy.